guys, I recently went to Universal and Disney World I went to Universal from August 18th to the 20th, and then I went to Disney World from August 20th to the 27th. So I'm going to have a couple of videos for you guys about that trip and some things that I thought I would share. So first I thought I would talk about Universal, so that's what this video is going to be about, primarily the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is why we went. I'm really not into big rides in terms of roller coasters, and that's what Universal has over Disney. I think they have a lot more, they have more thrill rides, I would say, probably good for the older teenage group. Less family rides. They do have some family rides, but I'm not really into that because it's just too terrifying for me. So we primarily spent our time at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So because of that, we stayed at the Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort on property, and like I said, we stayed from the 18th to the 20th, so 2 nights, and we visited the parks on the 19th, so one day, which was Friday, August 19th, and we got the park-to-park pass so that we could visit both Universal and Islands of Adventure, and this is because if you want to ride the Hogwarts Express, you need to have the park-to-park pass because it goes between the two parks. And Hogsmeade is in one park and Diagon Alley is in another. So first we went to Diagon Alley and I was absolutely blown away. It was so cool. It was even better than I had expected. It was, we actually commented that we thought that was Disney quality, which was not true necessarily for the rest of the parks, the rest of the park I should say, which I will get to in a bit, but totally blown away. It was so authentic that if you remember from the movies when in the first Harry Potter movie when Hagrid brings Harry to Diagon Alley, the bricks shift and it opens up to walk through. This was so cool. Obviously you can't do that in a park, but they had walls kind of offset at an angle so you can't really tell, and we did not have a park map. So we didn't know where we were going. We're just kind of following the throngs of people. We figured that's where they were going. And sure enough, well, I thought these people were going to the bathroom. They just kind of like went into a hole in the wall. And, between where the walls were offset. And we look, and sure enough, that was the entrance to Diagon Alley. It was so amazing. It was just the coolest thing ever. So there, the only ride that we went on that we had in terms of Harry Potter rides was Escape from Gringotts. And when you go in Gringotts Bank, it is phenomenal. It is so cool. We were able to take some pictures, and I'll insert them here, of Gringotts Bank. Waiting in line when you see the goblins on either side, like they're at the bank, it was just so cool. And then when you go kind of in the back room, they take your picture, and which is just so that you can get like a photo pass, what would be equivalent of the Disney photo pass, so you can, get your picture on things and rides and stuff like that. But when we're waiting in line in that area, they have newspaper clippings from the movie laying around, and just like in the movie, the pictures move. It was just so cool. And we ate lunch at the Leaky Cauldron, which was really neat as well. We got ice cream at Florian Fortescue's. My husband got Butterbeer ice cream. He was a little underimpressed with the ice cream. But they have Weasley's Wizard Wheezies, and they had places to buy robes, even in the hottest, this was August. It was absolutely sweltering. And kids were walking around in their Harry Potter robes. You can go to Ollivander's, you can get your wand. It was just so cool. I was absolutely blown away. And they have a dragon on top of Gringotts, and every so many minutes, they have a dragon on top of Gringotts, and every so many minutes, the dragon will breathe fire. And if you remember from the last Harry Potter movie, it's the dragon that was in the dungeons of the castle. If you remember from the last Harry Potter movie, it's the dragon that was guarding the vaults that they rode out. So that's now perched on top of the bank. When you're waiting in line, you can see, I think it's supposed to be Bellatrix Lestrange's vault, which it looks exactly from the movie. I was just blown away. So then you can take the Hogwarts Express, from Diagon Alley to Hogsmeade. It goes the other way, and the experience is different. You see pictures, movies, through the window, like you're actually riding the Hogwarts Express, and it's different depending on what way you're going. And so then in Hogsmeade, the actual Hogsmeade Village wasn't as impressive as Diagon Alley. It was still very, very cool, but they just didn't have as much. We got Butterbeer there, and I was a little frustrated because I think it was $7 for 1 cup of Butterbeer, which we shared because, I mean, that's more sugar than you probably need in a year. But you can get Butterbeer hot. I don't know if they actually even sold it hot in the summer, but I know you can get it hot, cold, and iced. Well, we went to a place, the first place that we saw, and we asked, you can get it cold or iced, right? And she said, yeah, but my cold actually isn't working. So we got it iced. She should have told us that if you walk, which we later found out, you can walk 15 feet the other way and then you can get it cold. So that was kind of disappointing because we got it iced and we could tell it would have been better cold, but it was still really good. It's like butterscotch flavored, and I think, if I remember correctly, the foam on the top, which is supposed to be like the head of the beer, was, I think they said it's like a toasted marshmallow flavor. Whatever it is amazing. It was, like I said, it was $7, so it wasn't cheap, but this wasn't even for the souvenir glass. You can get it in a souvenir glass, but like I said, we shared one, and I'm totally glad that we did. I'd probably get my own next time, but it was really, really good. So then in Hogsmeade, they have a couple of rides. There are very few Harry Potter themed rides, first of all, but in Hogsmeade, they have I think it's Hogwarts the Forbidden Journey. I'll write it in if I'm wrong, but I think it's Hogwarts the Forbidden Journey, and where you're actually in the castle, and that is super, super cool. Again, both that and the Escape from Gringotts and Diagon Alley, I get motion sick, so I was a little leery. There were some parts where I had to close my eyes because there are some parts where you're in a screen and you're in front of a screen and your car is moving, but it's actually more of a roller coaster too. So you're not just in a seat, you're actually, your whole car is moving. And then we also, that's the highlight, that's the main ride there. Then their other 2 rides are Flight of the Hippogriff and Dragon Challenge. Completely lame. Dragon Challenge is the ride where there were signs, like the only Harry Potter theming was in the line, and they had signs for like Harry Potter and stuff, in the, as like from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So that was really the only Harry Potter-ness, and then, and that actually used to be Dueling Dragons, and they just added a couple signs to the line and called it a Harry Potter ride. So that was a disappointment. And then Flight of the Hippogriff, the roller coaster, it like has like a hippogriff head. That's really the only Harry Potter part of that ride. But in line, you can see Hagrid's hut. So that was a little bit cooler. But both of the rides themselves were not anything to write home about. Now, the reason that we stayed at the Lowe's Royal Pacific, it's one of their more expensive resorts, is because we got the express pass for free with our room. Whereas if we had stayed at Cabana Bay, which is their least expensive resort, we would have had to have paid for an express pass. Now, the express pass is very expensive. It's, I want to say like $89 a person. So, because we're only going for 1 day, so we wanted to get the express pass. Well, first of all, you can't use the express pass on the Hogwarts ride or on the Gringotts Bank ride in terms of Harry Potter rides. You can use it on, I think we could use it on Dragon Challenge and Flight of the Hippogriff, but it wasn't needed because those are not their big ticket rides. So we used it, but it was kind of like not necessary. You can also use the express pass in the other parts of the parks that are not Harry Potter themed, but because we didn't visit those areas, it really didn't help us out all that much. We did go on the Incredible Hulk, I think it's the Incredible Hulk ride. Terrifying. Never again. My husband wanted to, and so I was willing. The other ride we went on was Revenge of the Mummy. Awesome ride. I really loved it. I highly recommend it. It would be absolutely terrifying for a child, but is a very, very cool ride. Now, something that really irritated us about Universal. So first of all, we had to bring to the parks, we had to bring our room keys to show that we can get in an extra hour early, to show we were staying on property. We had to bring our park tickets. We had to bring our express pass, and then we had to bring a separate park to park ticket, I believe. I mean, we had to bring like 3 or 4 tickets. I mean, you know, things each. That was ridiculous. Whereas at Disney, you can just bring your magic band and go, and that's it. So that's awesome. Something else that I really didn't like is you go through security like you would at a normal theme park when you get in. On top of that, I don't think not every single ride had it, but many of the rides had additional security. I think there were the rides that were roller coasters that were higher off the ground, and they had a metal detector that you had to go through. You could have nothing in your pockets. You could not even bring a cell phone with you, regardless of, you know, your pocket. You had to put it in a locker. Everything. So we'd had our bag with us, and I didn't know that you could bring nothing in your pocket. I guess they're afraid of something falling out. Now, lockers, they have lockers frequently spaced throughout the park, so that part wasn't a problem. Finding the lockers wasn't a problem. And they're free depending on where you're located. Some of them are free for 45 minutes at a time. Some of them are free for up to, I think it was an hour and a half at a time. And if the ones that are near the more popular rides are free for a longer period of time because you could possibly be in line longer. But you only get so many locker rentals throughout the day. And we had enough, but we met our max. And like I said, we didn't even do a lot of the other rides. We just did some of the Harry Potter rides. So that would be quite frustrating, I guess. Or I would just leave my stuff in there. And what you do is you have this big room filled with lockers. And there are maybe 2 or 3 computers, and you have to scan your finger, and, you know, it tells you what locker number you're going to use. You put your stuff in there and you lock it. And then when you go back, you scan your finger again. We had so many problems where it wouldn't recognize our finger, and we had to go and get the locker attendant to get our stuff out. So that was a huge pain as well. Aside from having to constantly stop and put things in a locker because we could never have anything in our pockets, we had to do that. And then on top of that, 2 to 3 of those computers in that locker room area, this was a Friday in August. It was busy. It wasn't packed, but it wasn't slow either. So it's so crowded because everybody brings their entire family into those rooms. They don't want to leave their kids alone sitting outside. So it's so packed, and then you're like waiting in line essentially, but it's not even a line. It's just like this conglomeration of people to use the computer, and then they have a problem, so then the whole line is held up because they can't get in their locker. So that was disappointing. I didn't know about the lockers being quite so, like, you have to use them, and if you don't, there's a metal detector, and then they will catch your stuff, and then you have to get out of line and go back to the room with the lockers. That was really crazy. And then when I was on my other kind of negative experiences, when we were on the Hulk ride, I was wearing sunglasses because I saw other people wearing sunglasses, and I was holding them in my hand kind of like this around the handlebars. And she said, you have to wear your glasses. Well, the ride goes upside down. So I was like, they're not going to stay on. They're not that tight. They're kind of loose. And I thought, okay, maybe with the G-forces, I'm going upside down, they'll stay put. Not so. So my glasses started falling off, and I believe this is a ride where we had a harness like this. So you don't have a total range of motion in your arms. So I somehow managed to get my glasses off and like folded and held them for the rest of the ride. But yeah, I wouldn't bring glasses on that ride again, and I was kind of irritated that she's like, oh, you have to wear them. And it's like, no, they're not going to stay on. And they didn't. They fell off, and I had to maneuver. But I was very lucky I was able to catch them because they were prescription glasses, so that would have been really bad. But overall, it was seeing Harry Potter. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter was awesome. We would do it again. We wouldn't do it, certainly not every time we go to Disney. We don't feel the need to do it that often. I still don't really care about the rest of Universal. The rest of it kind of feels like a Six Flags to me. They had, They had an area themed to The Simpsons, which I've never really watched. My husband watched it when he was younger. He doesn't care about it. They had a cartoon area that had a lot of stuff with like Betty Boop and Popeye, and I was just thinking, like, is this even relevant? Who is this relevant to in terms of park going people? Because I feel like it's not the demographic that is coming to Universal. They had a Marvel area with all these superheroes, which we're really not into superheroes. I would have liked to have gone on the Jurassic Park ride, but people were coming off pretty wet, and my husband didn't want to walk around with wet shoes, understandably. But it was close enough to our hotel where we walked. We did have a boat transportation, which we took one time on the way to the City Walk, but we did walk the other times to and from the park. So we would walk from the Lowe's Royal Pacific through City Walk, and then that's where, from the City Walk, you can go to either Islands of Adventure or Universal. But yeah, it was a good time. So if you are into Harry Potter, for sure go. If you have small kids and you don't care about Harry Potter, I think it would probably be a waste, honestly. Obviously, it's dependent on everybody. You know, everybody's going to be different. But you can go to their website, and they have the list of all their rides, and they did have a really cool Minion ride, but a lot, that's the other thing I wanted to mention, is a lot of their rides are simulators, or at least partial simulators. And I cannot do that because I get motion sick. So that was a huge part of why I could do so little in the rest of the parks. There was some simulator aspects to the 2 main Harry Potter rides, like I mentioned, but because it was the Harry Potter rides, I was willing to, you know, close my eyes and risk it, but not, and it was just part of the ride. But the Despicable Me Minion Mayhem looked really cool from the outside. It was like Gru's house. I have a picture of it, which I will insert, but again, it was a simulator, so I couldn't do it, unfortunately. But yeah, we had a good time. So I hope you found this helpful, and stay tuned for my next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.